Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mario Hardy, aka DJ Ragtop, and we have Eric and Marcella. Say
Good
hello.
evening. Good evening. Good afternoon.
So today we're going to discuss. We're going to pick back up where we left off before about medical and health insurance, and then we're also going to talk about life insurance. And the first question we have up front is, why do people choose not to get health insurance and life insurance?
Um, I think it's not so much of a choice. I think it's based on affordability because a lot of people they cannot afford health insurance and life insurance. It's getting to a point to where it's just ridiculously high, and either you're gonna pay for life insurance, health insurance, or you're gonna try to pay your bills and feed your family.
Okay, for me, it's the same thing. I used to be one of those. I can't believe that this person don't have insurance, that person don't have health insurance. Then I turned around and I did my research. It's ridiculous. Like before I retired, I said, you know what? I'm a grown man. I'm not using the army stuff. I'm gonna get my own. And I seen them prices. I said, wow, dental insurance is more than medical insurance. So the like she said, the problem is affordability. With life insurance, the older you get, the higher it is. If you can barely afford what you got now, how are you gonna be 70 and afford that life insurance? It's too high. And then not only do you have to deal with affordability, you got to deal with using it. Because they don't tell you the fine print. They don't tell you the fine print. You go in there, you go to use this is not covered. So you get into a argument with the people who's supposed to be giving you a service, thinking they doing pulling the wool out from under your feet, only to realize it's in black and white when they show you. So you mean to tell me I've been paying in this joker for 10 years, never used it once, and now that I use it, you tell me you don't cover that? That's a problem. And then it's even worse when you go to try to change insurance.
Now, when you say change insurance, you're talking about health insurance or life insurance?
Either one. When you go to try to change, say I want to go from let's just use Aetna to
Blue Cross
Blue Shield. Man, it's a madhouse trying to get it changed over. Why did you change over? Why didn't you stay with them? Why don't you just give me a policy? Well, we need to do this health check all over again. If it's life insurance, what does it matter?
And I also think too, it's based on like affordability is number one cost, but I think also too, it's to some people it's not a priority because a lot of times they have this thing where they say that you take an oath and regardless of whether you have insurance or not, they're not supposed to not deny you of services. Also too, people take their chances on just going to the hospital, being seen, whether they get half care or not, and being billed. So I think it's affordability, and another reason why I think is prioritizing that. A lot of times they feel like that's just not something that they need to do or they need to have, and they just take their chances and going to the doctor and either being half seen or being billed.
And another thing is service. There are plenty of people with insurance, and I guarantee you 90% of them will tell you a horror story that they had. You thinking you going into this hospital, this dentist, wherever, thinking you covered, only to now you have to check what they billing to your insurance, because that affects you as well. Even though you got insurance, it still affects you as well. Because this happened to me. I'm not going to call the dentist's name, but I know for my insurance, it's supposed to be cleanings and exams and x-rays are supposed to be free. It don't cost you nothing. Well, it ain't free, but it don't cost you nothing. I'm leaving out that joker with a $175 bill. I said, the bill is a lie. You need to explain to me what was done. I need to see a receipt. She gonna ask me, you want to see the receipt? I said, yes, I do. I'm gonna get the man. Okay, who you get? I want to see the receipt. And sure enough, plain as day, they charged me for a whole bunch of work that they didn't do. All I went in there was for a cleaning. That's it. I was hot. I told my wife, I told Sally about it. And I never went back. So it's a toss up between affordability and service. If I got to go through all this with insurance, do I even need it?
Right, and then people have to understand that there is a big difference between health insurance and dental too, because dental is a whole different thing. That's not that's something. See what a lot of people I know get it confused. I know when I first came out the military, I think that's when I got a rude awakening that your dental insurance plan is completely has nothing to do with your health insurance plan. And it's like a whole different ballgame because like with dental, dental, even though you're supposed to be covered 100% for cleanings, they're going to charge you extra for other stuff. And I think that's where that's why a lot of people don't deal with. I mean, I think that's the whole thing now is the medical field has now become so bad. The health field, I'm gonna say medical, I'm gonna say the health insurance, the whole financial stuff behind it is they're trying to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. And so like when you're in, like for example, when we make that transition, when we're in the military, we really don't have to pay anything except for to take care of our families. We pay that little family, that little thing for TRICARE, and then we're done. Well, now that we're out of the military and we're retired, if those that kept that TRICARE plan, it's a nightmare because everything you do now is an extra dollar here or there, which again is still better than most of the other insurance policies because with the other insurance policies you have to pay more money towards copays and everything and so forth.
And also too, for those of you that don't know, I broke my leg last Monday night, and I was asked which hospital would you like to go to. I chose the hospital, and even with as they say, good insurance, or you have insurance. When I went to the hospital, when I say it was so many people in there, and it doesn't matter who has insurance, if it's good insurance, if it's bad insurance. And I didn't even know at the time, but I realized that when I it was possible me breaking my leg Monday night, I knew I actually broke something because I was in so much pain. But even me sitting there in the wheelchair and just waiting for them to do x-rays and waiting for them to call me to the back, it didn't matter because I was a number. And like I said, used to it to be where they'll try to get children out faster than, the adults, or it's according to what your injuries are. No. And I told my husband, I said, so I don't want to be in that position to where either you have insurance and you don't, it doesn't matter. It really does matter. But when you have insurance and you have to go to the hospital, it don't matter. You have insurance because you're going to wait just like everybody else going to wait. And we think we got there around about 8:30, about 8:45. We didn't get home until like 4:00 in the morning.
And I think that goes back to the problems that one of the biggest things we discovered in COVID-19 is how bad the medical system is. The medical system it needs to be revamped across the board. And I think that's one of the things that's one of the highlights that we all can take from COVID-19 is that the medical system is broke.
Yes,
it's completely broke down. And
good,
by people not listening and doing the right thing when COVID-19 happened, it made it even worse. So now you have a lot of people that left the field because they got tired of not, like, people didn't want to go get this immunization. They didn't want to follow instructions. They didn't want to wear masks. There was a lot of stuff that they didn't want to do. And what happened was, okay, all these people coming in sick, and it overwhelmed the system that was already broke. And so when you put all that pressure on a broke system, that system is going to be so far gone that it's going to be almost impossible to repair it. And so now here it is. This is the aftermath of COVID. And now our health system, which was already bad, has gotten 5 times worse.
Yes.
Yes.
You
So-
have you have registered nurses that's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, walking away and changing
Fields.
their whole field and saying it was the best decision they ever made. Because, like you said, this COVID exposed the holes in the system. So, since this night crew of nurses is good, we're gonna put them in the fire. Everybody else, the buddy system come in. Everybody else, do what it. I want this same person keep going in there. I want the same person keep doing this, and they got tired because the last people to find out are the ones, are the ground pounders. The last ones to find out are the nurses on the battlefield. That this system is like this and it's like that and it's like that. I'm telling you, certain places you go, you have to speak up. I had to do it. And when I had my surgery, I had to act a stone cold fool because even though it's like a double negative, oxymoron, whatever you want to say, you should have insurance, but that your treatment isn't that much better.
Right.
The treatment isn't that much better.
It's really not.
You would think that once they find out you got insurance, you get some type of federal. They don't care. You have to make yourself seen and heard. Hey, I'm over here. Why am I sitting here? Okay, well either you put me in the room because I'm in so much pain, or I'm leaving. Boy, you say you leaving from the hospital? Boy, you get about 25,000 nurses coming into your room. Oh, can't let them go. Oh, no. What do you want? What do you need? What do you want? And it's like, it's a constant fight. Should I, shouldn't I? You should, but then the people are asking, if I'm going to pay this much money, why am I still getting treated like this? Why am I waiting from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m.?
Because again, we're just a number. They don't care. And again, like my husband was saying, like even as going to the dentist office and stuff like that, I'm telling everyone now, when you go see a doctor, no matter what type of doctor it is, ask for a printout of your bill, because even though you only have to pay a certain amount of money or a copay, they're gonna try to get as much money as out of your insurance company as possible. And if you don't look at that itemized list, it's going to be things on there that they didn't do to you that day, and they're going to get charged for it. Because what a lot of times we don't do,
you don't look.
We don't look. We don't read. We don't pay attention to our receipts at the grocery stores. We don't do none of that.
Got this little bitty copay. I'm good.
So,
I don't even need to check this.
Well, I think that's across the board, because now in today's society, you just can't trust people anymore.
Nope.
I don't care what field you're in, you just can't trust people no more.
That is
you
so
can't
true.
trust people to do the right thing. And the thing, like I said, go back to like money. Okay, that doesn't mean anything, because the money is not going into the pocket of the nurses and doctors that see us. They're only getting a small portion of it. It's going into these big companies, these big corporate companies that they're actually able to pocket the money and then break out a little small piece of change to the ones who are actually doing the work. And I think, again, that's why I said the whole system is broke. I mean, and I say that because just like the educational system, you look at the educational, it's like the education, your teachers barely are making it off of what, and they're the most important people in our society are the teachers. But the teachers not getting paid, just like medical field. The medical field, a lot of them are not getting paid what they're worth.
No.
And so it reflects on the type of work they provide. And then when you have a system to where for one nurse, you got 30 people, that ratio is not going to be well. It's like that system's going to be broke. And I think that's one of what's going on now is that here it is. Like, for example, Fort Bragg, everyone knows Fort Bragg is the largest military installation in the United States. Walmart and all the clinics that they have is not enough to cover all the active duty reservists and retirees. It's just not enough. And I think that's the problem. So it's like now they're saying, of course, now they release it to where now if you're now retired, you don't have to be on base anymore. But so then we go out here and I just went through the scenario where you're like, I'm okay, you're telling me I need this procedure, but then the health insurance company is saying, no, you don't need this procedure. So which one is it? So you don't know who to trust in that situation. Is because y'all don't want to pay the money, or is it because I don't need the service? I don't need that procedure. So that's when you have to go into, and you have to do your own research, and you have to, like, when someone tells you you got high blood pressure, first thing you want to do is, okay, now I have it to where I'm checking my own blood pressure. I become my own nurse because I'm paying attention to what's going on with my blood pressure. If I'm checking my blood pressure and they got me taking medication, and I've been taking this medication for, let's say, 4 or 5 months, and my blood pressure has not budged not one bit, and I've done everything possible, that means that medication ain't no good.
Yep, exactly.
And so that's where we have to, in a sense, we have to kind of build up our intelligence on our bodies and on what we need to do, because you can't, like right now, if we go in, perfect example, if we go into a medical facility and they ask us questions and we don't know, then they're going to take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you don't know your own body, like if they ask you a question, oh, how much do you weigh? Simple question. You don't know how much you weigh? You don't know your height? Those are simple questions to where then they're like, okay, they're not paying attention to they're not really getting into their, like, there's a lot of things that people, number one, they don't care about their health. Number two, they're not doing the right things, so they don't want to know about their health. And then the ones that really want to know about the health is, like I said, they find other means where they don't want to get. Everyone knows now. It is sad to say, back in the days, the health system was they gave you a full rundown on what's going to do better for you. Now they just want to give you medication.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to look at any other possibility. They just want to give you a pill. Here, take this pill, and here it is. You're taking 3 to 10 pills for something that technically, if you just go out and do some exercise, start eating better than what you're doing. Nutrition, knowing when to eat, when not to eat, knowing what type of your makeup of your body. Those procedures are not really being taught like they were like years ago. Now it's more of, okay, here, take these 3 pills, and we'll see you in 3 months. And that's just, again, pills make money. That's just.
And that's where the health insurance rolls in at. I've been told that the insurance, their thing is to medicate first, medicate before procedures. That's what they said, medicate before procedures. So they want to medicate the hell out of you first, then we'll talk about procedures. Well, if you need a procedure, even after you took the medication, why you just didn't look into procedure first anyway?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So because here it is, like you said, it's some money. It's all about the money, because you got all these different pills. Okay, now you got to think about your liver.
Right.
Now you got to think about your kidney. So why do you need to check my blood, give me blood work 2 months after taking the pill? Oh, one of the side effects is liver, is jaundice. Why are you giving me that?
Uh-huh.
Well, if it's to help my condition and the side effect is even worse than the condition, why are you giving it to me? You know they get mad when you question them, when you try to use common sense. Why haven't you refilled your medication?
Because
I said, I don't need to. She said, well, what do you mean? I said, I don't need to. You haven't refilled your medication in 2 months. I said, since you want to go there, it says take as needed. If I don't need it, I'm not going to take it. You should have known that before you looked up my file. Look into the record. Why would I take it if I don't need it? That don't make sense. That's why it says take as needed for pain. Why are you taking them when you're not hurting?
Also, too, the medical field, people that work in the medical field, they are programmed. It's just like if you walk into a business and, they came out with different rules and stuff, and you ask them, you question the rules. And then when you question the rules, it makes sense what you're saying. And so the first thing they'll say is that, and when you ask why, and it was like, because it just is.
The way it just is.
No, it's not. That's just the way it is. Or because you don't have an answer, because you're just going by a book, and you're just you program. You're telling this is what you are taught to say to the person. And like I always said, that it doesn't matter who came up with it. If it don't make sense, it just don't make sense. You know. So.
And books, and people need to understand that books are guidelines. There's no substitute for experience. Books are just, this is what you should go by, but your experience is what counts. You can read every book, every regulation, every law, and it means nothing without experience. You still gonna need to experience whatever it might be. So stop depending on the books and go off of experience, lessons learned. You know.
But I would say this is that now, most of the time now, if you're not proactive
That's right.
as a patient, you will be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You will be given bad information. You will be given stuff that can do more harm than what you already have.
And that's all to get you to come back.
Right.
You have to have those doctors that's going to ask you, like, for instance, when I went and got a checkup, and my doctor asked me, do you want to control this certain condition with medication, or do you want to do it by diet, exercise? I'll take diet and exercise, Alex. You know what I'm saying?
And those are the good doctors.
Yeah,
When you like her, she is really a good one.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And if they don't ask you the question, you ask them.
Yeah.
That's what my aunt boy, she have them on their toes. Because you have to ask the question, because if you don't, see, people gave used car salesmen a bad rep. It actually applies to everybody with a business, especially now with this, since we talking about health insurance and life insurance, they're used car salesmen. You go in there to that doctor and you play dumb, they're like gonna go off, ding.
Right.
Take this, and this. Come back in 6 months. You sit there and you read that stuff. See, I read the big long books that they give you with your medication. And
right.
if that joker is thick, you might want to read it.
Right, absolutely. Because the more pages it is, the more chances.
Stuff up in there.
Right. And that's why I tell people most of the time it's always good to do your own research, because understand what you're dealing with, ask questions. I mean, like I said, those that are not active or proactive are the ones that in most cases get taken advantage of. And I mean, that thing, like I said, nowadays everything is across the board. It's like everything now is like people are not getting paid what they're worth, and so the services that they're putting out are just they're just meeting the standard. They're not exceeding the standard. They're just meeting the standard. Now, some who love what they do, you can tell, because they're the ones that are more proactive. They're the ones that are telling you things. They're giving you more information. But those are things, like I said, people have to be a little bit more active. Just like when it comes to your health insurance, Obamacare, everything that came out, everything that took place, it's like still you got a lot of people that still don't have health insurance because they don't get sick. So they feel as though if I don't have to go see the doctor, why should I pay for something? And I get it, but like I said, when that moment comes and you do have to go see that doctor, then it's a whole other story.
There are still good doctors and nurses out there, but they're so busy, it's going to be hard to get a hold of one of them. So it's best to need it and not have it than to have it and not, to have it and not need it, than to need it and don't have it. So it's one of them things. It's one of those little things in life that you have to think about and consider, because you can break your ankle walking out of your bedroom and you ain't got no stairs.
Right.
And just like they explained to us, certain breaks cause for surgery. And surgeries are expensive. Any type of cutting or slicing is going to be expensive. And boy, seeing some of the prices of some of these procedures, I was like, man, I'm glad we at least have insurance. Yeah, so it's one, like I said, I used to be one of those people like, why he don't have it? But then I did my research and I see why. You are stuck with a choice. Like you said, Mario, I don't get sick. My family and I eat healthy. We don't do nothing that we do this, Why do I need it? Especially when you look at the price. I was bold. I just knew I wasn't gonna need the army stuff. I knew it. I'm sitting there looking how much they want for dental. This is dental. How much you want? So then I looked at dental and medical. Dental is higher than medical.
Right. Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I think that if the government is for the people and by the people, then I think that, like, I'm gonna get on dental insurance real quick. When you look at people, younger people and stuff like that, and even older people, and you look at their their mouth and stuff like that, their teeth, and it's like people really can't afford it. And my thing is this: if the government is for the people, by the people, I think everything in this world should be affordable to where people can. It's not. We know that everybody is not going to be rich, going to be a millionaire. We know that. But I'm saying though, like there are certain countries where they take care of their people. You know what I'm saying? And for you to live in a world where you just can't afford necessity things, that's really sad. It should be to a point to where there are different levels of insurance, but everybody should be able to afford insurance. And like I said, then sometimes we'll be in a conversation. I think sometimes because we feel like, because I'm at this point in my life, I think everybody should be the same way, but that's not realistic. It's not realistic. Everybody cannot afford dental and health insurance. And I think that we have to go back and question our government stuff like that, and we have to go vote and do a lot of things, because a lot of times people say that if you vote me in, if you do this and do that, then I'll make changes. But those changes that you're going to make, it's not going to be the next 4 years that you say you're going to make those changes. Then the next person come on, it's going to the same thing. I think that certain groups of people are supposed to be held back. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, let's just take Germany for instance. Like, even if you military and you live in Germany, you have a child over there, they consider that child as a German a residence. And like, even if, for instance, like a lot of people don't know, but if you get a driver license in Germany, you don't have to that driver license lasts for the rest of your life. It's
Right.
it's like certain other countries for the first 2 years of college, that's free. They pay for everybody to go to college. And so why can't it just be affordable for everybody to be able to have dental and insurance? Because there's enough taxpayer dollars that's out here to where people should be able to afford that. Like they say, they're pushing for you to eat healthier. You know what I'm saying? Eat healthier, but then when you go into the grocery stores, everything that's good for you and that's healthy, it costs more than the junk stuff. So,
Right.
And it's like,
way more. It's obvious a big price gap.
Well,
So-
and I mean, but it goes back. See, that goes back to another system that's broken, which is the political system.
yes,
And so, I mean, when you take a political system that pretty much governs the country, it's like if the political system is corrupt, there's all about trying to keep corporations, keep money. It's a big thing. So like, if we're hiring, like I said, if we're voting for the wrong people, or we're putting the wrong people in office, then it's going to reflect to where, like, what they're saying is that on the medical field, only ones getting paid are the insurance companies and the medical, like the medical supply units, because you're getting all this stuff that you don't need, and who's paying for it? Like, say it's a gimmick to where it's like, the way the system is set up now,
yeah,
everything is broken.
yeah,
I mean, like I said, if you're not proactive, and like I said before, you didn't have to be as proactive, and in order for the system to work. Now you have to be you have to actually step up and do part of that work in order for the system to work for you. And if you don't take that initiative to do so, like I said, it'll come back and bite you in the butt. You can go see a doctor all day long, but if you don't say something or ask questions, they're going to keep doing the same old thing and still get paid for you coming.
yeah. Just like certain places that you work for. Let's just say, for instance, like Walmart. It used to be back in the day when Mr. Walton was living and stuff like that. Every one of his employees had benefits. You know what I'm saying? So when he passed away, it just went downhill. And it's like now, they don't even, now there's no full-time people really, because when you working 40 hours or plus, they have to provide you with insurance. So what they do, they cut your hours and stuff like that, because now they don't even want to pay. They want you to come on these jobs and they want you to put in the work, but they don't want you to benefit from, the job that you're working. And it's really sad that, like I said, Walmart's one. That's why a lot of people used to. Walmart was the best job out there at one point in time, because they have full benefits and stuff, and now they took that away.
And it's not just them. It's all these places. Period.
That's why the customer service is gone.
If it's hourly, you're not getting no 40 hours. You're not getting it. It ain't gonna happen. It's very rare. And if you got a job that gives you 40 plus hours, you better hold on to it, because the thing that bothers me is if I have a surgery and you, Mario, have a surgery and it's $3 million a piece, right? Oh, we got it. We go ahead and pay. That's $6 million. So you mean to tell me all that $6 million is gonna go back into the hospital, so the next person that needs surgery is gonna have to pay $3 million again? And you mean to tell me with that $6 million, you can't take a couple? This is what really blows my mind. The health insurance is crazy. The money is crazy. If you say if you don't have health insurance, then you don't get seen. How are you able to maintain a naval ship that goes to different countries, helping those people? You know what I'm saying? You got a big naval medical ship that goes to different countries and helps them, or you will bring somebody from another country to get a free surgery that you want to approve me for because my insurance says it's too much money. How is that even possible? But again, it goes along with it's the political system being broken. We don't question anything because all the guy wants to do is get elected. So once he gets elected, how can we hold him accountable? You know what I'm saying? Who is gonna hold him? Who is gonna hold Mario to the fact that he said he's gonna bring jobs back to the town?
Well, see, the thing is, and that's what I say, the system is broke because not one person can do it.
No.
And I think that's what people have to understand is like that's why in most cases when we deal with these politicians, these people that are in positions to better our communities, we only see them when it's time for election, and then that's when you see these individuals. But throughout that time frame, what are they doing? And I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, a perfect example. You had the senior citizen, a new senior citizen here in Fayetteville open up. They had their first big event. Not one politician was present. Here it is. You have something that just opened up that's in our community, that's going to do great things, big things, and not one politician was present. Not our districts. Anyone that governs weren't present. So it's like that's why I say it's kind of go back to like it's more so of they get to position because they want the power.
Yes.
They want the money and power that comes with that position.
That's it.
And they get back and they just like the idea that they can change, they can vote on stuff and do things the way they want to do things, but it's not really benefit the community. And that's why I say I go back to here it is again, Fort Bragg, Fayetteville area has probably one of the highest rate for retirees. We only have two VA systems in this area. One is overdue for a rehaul, which they're working on, and then you have the newest one. But you have the most veterans in this area. And again, that's why I go back to where the VA system. I mean, the VA system is finally, after all these years, starting to shape up and become a better health system for our veterans. So it's like, why did it take 4 wars later? Now, here it is, the VA is finally doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that healthcare system on that side is all messed up. So that's one of those things where, again, it's like all our systems are broke. Our healthcare systems are broke. Our politics is broke. If it was up to me, I said go in and just fire everybody and start all over again. I mean, that's the only way. Clean house, completely clean house.
Yes.
because that's the only way we're going to fix it. The systems are so corrupt because what's going on is you have these big corporate companies paying to have the right person in the position to keep things the way they are. We're
Yes.
never going to the system, and they like you have that person come up. Yes, we're going to fix the healthcare. We're going to healthcare system. We're going to go in. We're going to do this. They get in there. The health system becomes just as bad as it was before. I mean, so it's like again. That's why I say you can't believe. You can't believe in these. But me, I'm a type of person that is you can't believe in people to do the right thing. You just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, you want people to do the right thing, but you can't. So you got to you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah,
You
do
got
your
to go out
due
here and do your own
diligence. Right.
research. You got to. It's like voting is a small part of it. A lot of people say it's a big part. No, I think it's a small part because the system is corrupt.
Exactly.
It's a broke system.
Exactly.
So
I had that same conversation today about the what you just said about voting being a small part, because like you said, the system is corrupt. So it is a very small part. Good afternoon, Miss Tisha.
Hey y'all.
hey Tish, how you doing?
Good. Hopping on from teaching class. So yeah. All hyped up. Look.
And that's why everybody. Yeah, we were just talking about how like the healthcare. Well, hey, yeah, how the system is broken. We just here talking about how one system affects the other systems. Like, and I think that's why the things will never get fixed is because if you in order to fix one system, you have to fix all the other systems to tie into it. Is like, for example, the health system is designed to make money. It's no longer designed to take care of people. It's designed to make money. And these people who are getting rich off the healthcare center, they're going to pay as much money as possible to keep it broke or to keep it the way it is. So as individuals, we have to do a lot more self-care. I know, like back in the days, and I always wonder why was it the military were giving out these books, and Eric, you probably remember this. They were giving out these self-care books to where you keep up with your own health. And this was years ago. This is back in the 90s. Like back in the 90s, they were giving us our self-care books to where we keep up with what was going on with ourselves. And so now it shows that they were getting us ready because they knew that if we didn't take care of ourselves, the system's not going to take care. They knew they didn't have qualified people in the healthcare system to take care of the way we need to be taken care of as veterans or as in soldiers in a sense. So you had soldiers taking care of soldiers, but these soldiers were learning. So they weren't really qualified, but they were going through the process of learning. Mm-hmm. Now Congress has passed this thing where we can go back as military. If they don't do what they're supposed to do to take care of us, now we can sue them. And it shouldn't, and that's something that should have been established a long time ago because we all knew that everyone knew that we weren't getting properly taken care of.
No.
You have the same person. I'm looking at the same person that came to the military with me. They get this fast training at the medical facility or at the AIT facility that they attended, and then they use us as guinea pigs for them to get better. But as they get better, some of us are getting worse because they didn't know what was right until after they tested on us, what was right, what was wrong. And so there's a study, and then so it's like, to me, the healthcare system is going to stay broke. So you can't really, you want to still use it to measure like key things, but you just can't rely on it. You should be your primary care provider.
Well, I think too, the biggest thing that we have to know is our own body.
Right.
Because what was good for me may not work for Marcella, or what works for Marcella may not work for me, vice versa. So I think the key thing is really slowing down from being so busy to pay attention to your body. Because I'm in a season right now, because I am so active, that I require more sleep at times. And I was thinking something was wrong with me, but as I'm journaling, I'm realizing how active I am. And not only that, I was realizing I'm not eating enough. So that's the other thing, like before you even get to the dealing with the healthcare providers, how can we expect them to be better to us than we are to ourselves?
Absolutely.
So it starts with your own personal ownership and how you're treating your body too, because if you're treating your body good, then you're not really contributing to the healthcare system. Look, you know, I mean, let's be real. So the whole goal here is to not have to depend on the system, you know,
Right.
but
Not
to
to not to have to go into the system in a sense.
right. But you know, and if we do, how once we're there, do we get from needing or depending? It's just, I was telling someone we have to look at life in its entirety, even our health. Like we try to separate drug addicts, people who do different things, but food is an addiction too. And it
It is.
contributes to the vast majority of our issues is the food that we consume. And
Excuse me,
so,
Dr.
oh, you're fine. When we go to the doctor's office, they're only trying to cure something or patch something up. I don't even know if they're trying to cure anymore.
Right. They're just trying to do a quick pat. You're right. You're absolutely right. It's just like, here, okay, here's your band-aid. You know, hopefully it lasts as long. Like, look, here's your band-aid. Go get your medicine, and we'll see you in 2 months or 3 months.
I would take it a step further. It's like when you get a nail in your tire. So you go to get it patched up. That patch may or may not hold. You don't know how long. And that's basically what the healthcare system has been. It's become, like you said, a Band-Aid or a patch.
Right.
But it's okay to get a diagnosis. What do you do after the diagnosis?
That's right.
Right.
You know,
That's
so
what
what are you doing after you've been told to take ownership of your own health and make sure that you turn it around?
And like we was talking earlier, you have to, like it's going on what both of y'all said. Like he said, you have to be the primary care provider for yourself, and like you said, take ownership. And part of that taking ownership is questioning your doctor. If they don't ask you, if they're not asking you pertinent questions, you need to ask them. My aunt, man, I love that woman to death, boy. She said, man, I get in the business when they come. Why you want to give me the why? Because I got into an argument with one of my doctors because I want you to take this, and I say, okay, what does this do? This. But no. She said, I want you to take this in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. One of them, I'll just say a month. I want you to come back and do blood work. I said, why? I just did blood work. Oh, well, this one affects the liver, and I want to make sure it's very rich. Before I realized, I said, well, why in the hell will you prescribe it to me if it can possibly affect my liver? Well, it's a very small chance. Well, then that can be that small. I said, man, let me tell you something. I caught a fungus in my eye, which makes me sensitive to sunlight. It was supposed to be 1 in a million. That's what they told me. I caught it twice. So you can't tell me that a small percentage. Then I'm that small percentage. So what? My liver go in a shutdown mode, and then what? Oh, then give it to him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to question them. Why are you? What is this? What does this do? And like I tell Mario, if the medication that they give me and the little, they have to give you the side effects and all the other little pamphlets that come along with it. If that thing is thick, you might want to read it, player. You might want to read it.
Well, I always say if the side effects are greater than my illness, I'm not taking it. So that's common sense for me. I'll take my chances on natural healing.
My wife,
and see what Vanessa just said is like hers is like dead on the money. Is that insurance companies are prohibiting doctors to spend too much time with patients.
Yes.
That right there is the problem of all problems is that they're not getting the money they're not being allocated the time because the health insurance don't want to pay the money for the time that's necessary.
Get them out.
So hold on, let me pause y'all right there. Anybody who goes into an healthcare mindset, where it's fitness, nutrition, or healthcare, or whatever, you also take an oath to do what's best for your patient.
Right.
So you have to also control that narrative like we do with everything else in life right now, because we're in a very fast-paced society. Have your questions ready to go. Be prepared,
right?
So that you are respectful of the fact that this doctor is on a time crunch or whatever. Right. So you go into, again, ownership. We know this. We know that the insurance companies have their foot on their neck about time and so on and so forth. So you come into your appointment prepared as you can, And then you say to that doctor, hey, I may need have some follow-up questions, because they always say if you have additional questions, feel free to call back. They even have your patient portal now. We need to stop being afraid of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Get on
Right.
there in your patient portal. You can post questions. They have a certain amount of time to answer you back in that patient portal. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm the type of person that when I get information, I like to process it, research. So
Right.
then I'll go back in my patient portal and say, hey,
Yep.
here's this. Because like any other job, they have a certain amount of time that
Right.
they're supposed to respond to the things that are in that portal.
24 to 48 hours,
Yeah.
I think it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
And if you have good doctors and nurses, they will be more than happy. They'll be glad to see you because they know you are taking charge of your health. So I'm gonna take that extra step and try to help you out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's why
Right.
I love my cardiologist. He'll come in there. What he'll come in there like a teacher. What have you learned? I looked at him. I'm like, what? Oh, this is what this is. Okay, cool. If you have any side effects, or if you feel it, this type of way, that type of way, you call me. This is my number. Call me personally. And see, one hand wash the other. You will do that. You will do that. But if they just say take this and you look at them side effects. You read that paperwork, and like Tisha said, if the side effects are worse than the condition, which is 9 times out of 10, you may not want to take it. Because for I have a problem sleeping. They gave me a blood pressure medicine whose side effect was drowsiness. So I said, you giving me a blood pressure pill for sleep? So yes, one of the major side effects of it is drowsiness. So I'm like, well, if the drowsiness outweighs the blood pressure, why don't you just make it a sleep medicine? And don't tell somebody you're gonna give them. We're not allowed to do that. I said, yep, need to change her. I'm not dealing with
See,
them
and that's
no more.
what you just hit it. Change issue. We have choices. We don't have to stay
That's
with
right.
that doctor.
That's right.
Right.
Because if that doctor is not speaking our love language as far as what we feel we need for our body, it's just like anything else. We can change clothes and go.
Right.
We don't have to stay
Absolutely.
there and be abused, by, or because everybody we have to learn to look at that job just like any other job.
Yes.
Some people are there for a paycheck. Some people are there for a paycheck and because they care. It's up to you to determine. Some people want to be medicated. So when those doctors come in there and talk to you, it's not personal. They don't know who wants to and who doesn't want to be medicated, or who wants the research, or who doesn't want. You gotta, again, ownership to let that person know, hey, I care about my health. I care about my well-being. You have to establish that relationship, build that rapport up front.
Another part of that ownership too, the caveat what you said, another part of that ownership too is not being afraid to confront the craziness, because one of the biggest problems I have with TRICARE is every couple of months your doctor changes. It is very
You mean every time you go to visit?
I want to grow hair and pull it out. You don't even know they send you some little stupid email that you don't even be paying attention to, and then the new doctor got the nerve. I almost got escorted off the premises. I need you to come in so you can talk to me about why you need me to do. I needed some more visits for a cardiologist. Primary care. Well, I need you. I said, no, you don't. She's like, excuse me. I said, no, you don't. She said, yes, I need. I said, ma'am, this was my doctor. Let's just say Dr. Williams. He left, right? He's active duty, so he left. So then you took over for him, correct? Yes, I did. So that means you took over all his patients. She said, yes, I did. I said, so why do I need to come to you for initial consultation?
I know.
The medical records are digital. Why don't
well, see, Eric, you got to think about it though. It's just like, it's just like when we're in the military, you go to a new place, you step back, you observe it, and then you start making changes. When you're dealing with a new patient, like I said, let's say, for example, you had a bad doctor before that wasn't doing the right thing. they don't want to be responsible
Exactly.
for something that was badly recommended. So it's critical. Like me, I would want the doctor. If I get a new doctor, I would want to open up that dialect with them because then I want to see where they're at. Because sometimes it's like when you make a change, you got to take time to evaluate that individual. Like I said, if I get like when you get a new soldier, like okay, yeah, this soldier was good with Sergeant such and such, but when you get up under me, I'm not going to assume he's going to be good or she is going to be good under me. I gotta try to treat them like I just met them for the first time. So,
but you talking about in like a 2 to 3 month time span. You can't tell me that I need to come see you again. Why don't you? Here's what you do. Why don't you look over the medical records, and if something go ping, then you call them. Or if that person say, "Hey, I need a consult or a visit to the cardiologist," okay, what's your name? Okay, give me 24 to 48 hours and I'll get back with you. Okay, that's fine too. But I'm not asking to change doctors. They are changing the doctors.
Right. And the thing is, they don't have a choice. That's the whole problem, is that the way the system is set up, and you know how it is in the military, the way they change out is like they don't like. See, it's a difference to where when you're working at a medical facility, let's say you go off base, you got a doctor that's been in that darn office for 20 plus years. Same doctor, have done anything. Military, they come and go almost every year.
Yes.
I mean, every year they're changing up. Like, peak season, May, summertime, December time, they rotation people in and out. Operations, you know how that goes when people deployments. So it's
see, I
kind of
can say, like Eric, I understand what you're saying. In my situation, I can hold my doctor accountable to that because I've had the same doctor for the last 25 years.
right.
He hasn't changed. So he knows me.
Yeah.
I mean, but if I were in you all's situation, I would want to be going in there and talking to that person and reestablishing that rapport with that new person. It's unfortunate that that's the situation for the military, but that's what you all are faced with. Now, if you wanted the white coat bedside manners that I get, then you would have to switch your insurance to be on that side where you have the same doctor until they retire. But for you all in that situation, I would want to be meeting with that new doctor and going over it because they think about it, they inherited probably 1,000 or more patients. Who knows?
Right.
And so they're trying to think it's realistic for them to go through every patient file. I don't know that they would have the time because as soon as they come in, they got to hit the ground running. They don't get to ramp up to that. They're already hitting the ground and seeing each patient. So to me, in that situation, that would be the fastest way to ensure that they're seeing about you without you falling by the wayside, if that makes sense. And I know it's probably frustrating.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
I don't even use them. I'd rather deal with the VA because I had that same doctor for 2 years, 3 years now.
See,
and,
so you have now there you go. That's how you work around it.
Yeah,
Again, you switched and changed the system. You didn't go with the.
She knows me
with the TRICARE because
just like you said, she knows me, and she already knows she's gonna come in there. Hey, Mr. Boss, hey, this is your yearly. Boom, boom, boom. She pulls up. I love this woman. What she do? We come in there for the yearly. She pulls up the labs and have them on this big screen, and she walks through everyone. And by the time I leave there, man, I have no doubts. I have no doubts about what was said, what was this. Because she believes in, how did she tell me? She believes in fixing it internally. Now, if you go through and you can't fix it internally, she said we're going to fix it externally. So which means I'm going to go through the medication. But she don't just medicate you. She tells you what medication and why she think you should get it. And see, that's
but everybody don't have, so that's the right fit doctor for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So like when I'll give y'all an example, something as simple as when I was going to get braces. I had all these doctors who wanted to pull teeth, break my jaw, reset my jaw, which would have changed my whole facial structure. What you have to think about is when you get older, And so I shopped around until I found a orthodontist that said, I believe that the teeth that God gave you are the teeth that you're meant to have, and that you can work around straightening your teeth without pulling your teeth, because we're gonna already lose them as we get older anyways, right? So again, I took ownership. I didn't just go with the first orthodontist that told me that. It's the same thing with anything else in our body. So when you are thinking about your doctor, like you said, Eric, you want one, if you are about healing yourself naturally or what, you want one that aligns with your thought process. Because I don't ever want to knock somebody who believes they need to be medicated. That's their choice. Okay.
Right.
But if you don't align with that thought process, it's like when you go to the doctor, you're interviewing the doctor. They're interviewing you. It's like a two-way interview. They interviewing you, you interviewing them.
Right.
Yeah, and that's
because think about it, the doctor's interviewing you to see if she need to recommend you to somebody else, because you may not be a good fit for her or for him. And he may say, hey, Mr. Bostic or Mr. Hardy, I need you to go over here because that's not my area of expertise.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that's one of the things that, like I said, Eric, I can tell you, every time I've been to the office, like for the last 90 days, my doctor has changed 3 times.
Yes.
And so the very first doctor that I had was one of the best doctors, because he was able to establish, he gave me the proper education for me to do self-care. He gave me the right information for me to go look into it for myself. The second doctor, all she wanted to do was medicate me. That's all she talked about was medication. Then the third doctor, he was like in between both of them. So it's like, so then I'm hearing the medication piece, and then so here it is, you got me changing every doctor now. And this is the thing I didn't like, was every doctor changed, they put me on different medications. So at this point, I can't even evaluate if the medication is working or not, because I've been changed so many different times. So that's why now that TRICARE is allowing us to go off base, I'm trying to find a permanent doctor. And when I find that doctor in that home, because what messed up with our health insurance is if it saves money for us to go back on Fort Bragg, they'll change it, and we have no choice but to go back on Fort Bragg. So then we have to fight in order or justify why we have to stay off base. But at this point, I'm willing to do that, because before I didn't have any health issues. So it didn't bother me that much. But now, I mean, I got health issues, and I'm like, these people, I'm doing my research and I'm listening. The first doctor was on the money, but these other 2 doctors are out left field for me. So based off my research and what the first doctor told me, now I have to take time out. That's why I got my own little medical center up here where I check my blood pressure. I mean, I'm serious. It's like, I wake up, the first thing I do is I check my blood pressure. I check my sugar. Now, for real, I mean, hey, I'm look.
Hey, you initialize on your own medical records.
Like, look, what was the game? What's the name of the game where
Operation.
I'm telling you, look, I put that thing on. This is up. Wrong thing. Oh, let me do it the right way. You know. I mean, we learn. That's pretty much how we have to learn. Is we have to learn how to do self-care, and I think that's like now. Then think about it. Back in the days, it was expensive to buy this equipment.
Yes.
Now it don't cost you that much. It doesn't cost that much money at all.
You can ask, say, hey, I want to monitor my blood pressure. Can I? Yeah, go by and pick it up. Go by and pick it up. And Mario hit it on the head. What's frustrating is, let me clarify. I don't mind going in and talk to the doctor. The frustration comes in that you just spent 2 hours talking to that doctor, building up a good rapport, and all of a sudden, I'd like to see Dr. Hardy. Oh, he PCS. What? What's your name?
Or she's TDY, or he's
TDY. You gonna talk to so and so. So you get the person who's gonna stand in for him. You go there, you talk to him, you do all this. He comes back. He said, "What's the status with this?" I said, "I already did it." He said, "No, you didn't." I said, "Yes, I did." Dr. So and so did it. So now all of a sudden, there's no paperwork, there's no nothing. Frustration. So I was like, you know what?
Don't even deal with that anymore.
I don't even deal with it. No.
Right.
No, I had to get into a pissy contest about my wife. I said, let me tell you something. I spend too much money. I pay for a service to not get it. If you say she is supposed to be at Walmart Clinic, then I go there to make an appointment. They should not tell me that she's not in the system. I'm not finna do your job for you. I said, what you get ready to do is verify what clinic she goes to. And when you verify and say, yes, that's the clinic she goes to, that's where I'm going to go. And I'm going to make an appointment. And they better not tell me that she's not in the system. TRICARE blames the clinic. The clinic blames TRICARE. So who left holding the bag? We are. Oh, look online. I did. It said this clinic. Well, I don't have it in the system. Okay, well, what do you want me to do?
And that's where, and see, me, Eric, I got to the point now where when situations like that happen, I use what they call the ICE program. You know what the ICE is? That's pretty much now, you know, to make it easy to snitch on them. So what I do is I start snitching on people. I mean, I start making phone calls. I start snitching because if, like for example, I think I told you a situation where my son his finger was almost completely cut off. And we went to the emergency room off base. Okay, we had to do a follow-up on what we had to go to our primary care, which is our doctor, which was at the time Robertson Clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So Robertson called them, explained the situation. You know, this happened, I want to say, if I remember correct, I think it happened like in June. And they were telling us, oh, we can't see a doctor till August. And I'm sitting here like, okay, my son's finger is about to completely fall off. You're telling us that we can't still go. So I went in, I talked to the representative. Well, that's just how it is. Okay, that's not. I'm not going to accept. I'm not going to sit here and accept that because that's not how it is. There's a system in place when there's an emergency or a circumstance that happens. There's not a norm. There's a policy. There's a procedure. Yes. Because I know that's how it is with the military. We have our norms and we have our other types of situations to where it can be done. So I went through, and sure enough, as soon as I went through and I started snitching on people, then all of a sudden, the health care that my son was supposed to get, he got it. Mm-hmm. So those are things that now it's I mean, you don't hesitate to snitch on people, because especially when something's not going like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
We all have common sense on how systems are supposed to work. And
but that's the ownership part. You took ownership of the situation. Now you could have chose to get upset, cuss, fuss, shout, get ugly. It's no need. We don't even have to put our energy into that anymore. And then I want to also make it clear too, because I'm a big prevention person. And I literally live by, when you know better, you do better. Mm-hmm. I think some of the things we need to start looking at more preventive measures to ways that we can prevent certain illnesses and stuff from happening by knowing what to eat. So I think we need to start getting a little bit more knowledgeable on what sugars do to our body.
Right.
Like I said, each one of us, the dynamics are different. So I may need a little bit more, but knowing how much water to drink, something simple as that, because that water keeps us flushed. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that those toxins, because we're going to get toxins in our body because a lot of our food is processed. How much processed food are you eating? Because we all want quick, fast, and in a hurry. Right. I'm learning to step back and do more cooking at home so that I can control the narrative. So I keep going back to food because a lot of our health related issues are directly related to what we're eating and drinking. Okay. Just because wine isn't vodka or liquor, you'd be better off taking 2 shots of vodka if you're going to drink 2 and 3 whole bottles of wine. We've gotten into this mindset of what's better and what's worse, and we just separate it out. It's better to do this than to not have this. I see people panic and get scared and immediately take the quicker route than to just scale back. Like you said, it ain't even snitching as much as, I guess I've always been a snitch because I've always been a why person. Because I ask a lot of questions because I want to know,
Yes.
inquiring
And
minds want to know,
now,
and so that's where we need to get. That's that mindset, Mario, we need to be in of why
mhm,
this, why that.
yes.
Right.
And
Now,
not snapping, that snapping out, blanking out. That's what they want you to do.
Right.
Because if I'm
now,
loud and irate, then I don't have to answer your question.
Right.
I don't have to help you.
mhm.
It gives me an easy way out.
There you
Okay?
go. Yep.
Now,
Exactly.
So we've got to learn to control our emotions, so that we can get the results that we need, and then be able to share it with each other.
mhm.
You know,
So when I alluded to earlier about snapping or getting a pissing contest, now let me clarify. See, there's a time to act a fool, and
yeah,
there's a time to be an intelligent fool.
Right.
Now,
right,
when I got into it with the doctor, there was no voice raising, there was
right,
no cussing, there
right.
was intelligence coming out. And
Yep.
see, when you are intelligent and you
Mhm.
are talking to them, they have no other choice
Mm-hmm.
but to grin and bear it and answer all your questions. Like you
Mhm.
said, Tisha, if you go in there fussing and cussing, guess what?
They can
You
dismiss
gave
you.
them a reason to blank you out.
Right.
I don't
They-
feel safe. I don't feel safe. I'm good. I'm
Because
good.
they ain't hearing nothing that you're
Security.
saying. Mhm.
And that's it.
I
And like,
mean,
so I just saw where someone put diet and exercise. Yes, I'm real big on the diet and exercise. Even if you just get out and walk,
Yes.
walking,
Yes.
get your heart rate up. That's another thing, couch potatoes. We can't be that all the time. We can't be bed potatoes, You
you
got
can't
to
be a
get
couch
out and
potato.
move.
We
Can't
get
be
That
a
was
on.
my
bed
dr-
potato
Hey,
either.
look, that was my dream job is to be a couch potato. Dang.
Listen,
hey,
you
we
couch
get
potato if
on.
you want to. That's you be back with some high blood pressure. Look.
We get on. We get on each other's nerves because we always. What you doing now? I don't know. I'm doing something.
Yes.
You gotta stay active. I can't
Yes.
sit down.
Right.
Yes.
Can't sit down. You must move around. You must do something. You don't
And
have to
another-
go out there and do a marathon. You know what I'm saying? Just stay active.
And that's what that's what's so crazy is over all these years I was in the military, even when I'm out, one of the biggest things that kills a veteran is not being active.
Right.
Is that because the thing is we go from being busy working 12 16-hour days and
to
doing this
zero.
to going like we went from 100 to 0
To zero.
The
That's
opposite.
a big crash.
It's a
Versus
major
0 to
crash.
100. Y'all went
Yeah.
from 100 to 0.
That's
Okay.
a big
Yes.
crash. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
It's-
that's something that people have to
Ooh.
understand is that as veterans, we have to stay busy. I mean, we have to stay active. And I mean, and to me, I'm up here counting down the years because they said that most veterans die within 20 years of getting out the military. And that to me is like, okay, I'm up here on 13. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can keep my act together, because I've been out for 13 years now. So it's like you have to, there's a lot of studies out there on why a lot of these veterans are having and most of the problems are they're having heart attacks, they're having
Mhm.
strokes. So it goes back to where their heart rate was going like at a good pace, and now, bam, we don't drop down to where our body, our blood is not circulating like it's supposed to, or we're not eating like we're supposed to because now we're eating more. Because back when we were in the military, we had time to eat. I mean, you might be able to take a bite or two, and then you kept on moving, and then we weren't eating the right stuff either, too, at the same time. So
I want to address what Benicia was just saying. She said she had to do both at the doctor. I think I'm saying her name correctly, Benicia.
Vanessa,
And
Vanessa,
that's
Vanessa.
it. Vanessa.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Vanessa. Okay. So Vanessa, I want to get that right. So there is a time, I think Eric hit it best, Vanessa, when he said you do have to know when you got to get stern. I don't know if you all have seen, over the last few months, how they're saying, especially for us as Black women, going into the doctor, and I'm not a Black man, so I can't speak on it. Maybe you guys can educate me. But I know as a Black woman, a lot of times they're saying that we're either misdiagnosed or not taken seriously when we go in and we're expressing severe pain or having issues. And so there is a time where I agree with Eric and
Yes.
Vanessa, you do have to get aggressive.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But we have to also remember that we've got to, it's kind of like sending your food back and you've been aggressive and nasty. You got to remember that this person still has to help you.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
like Mario say, hey, I'm going to get the snitching.
Right.
Because in that case, my snitching, you know how they say a snitch gets stitches. I need the stitches. So, right. So,
See,
you know,
you gotta be smart too. You gotta be smart about, like you said, like, you know, like
Right.
when I tell people all the time is when you give, like, if you giving the hell to a waitress for bringing the wrong stuff and you're expecting them to come out and do the right thing, I'm like, after I see,
You
and I
better
tell people all
follow
the
her to
time,
the back.
I see, like, when I'm with somebody, we go out with me and they're acting a fool about something's not right. I said, before you act a fool, let me get my food first.
Let me get
because
my
I don't
food
want no
first.
special sauce on my food.
Nope.
when it
Let me
comes
get my
out.
food first. Follow
So
her to the back.
you have to
I'm
be
just
careful, like I said, you have to be extremely careful how you go about things, because it's like it can come back and bite you. Because you got some people nowadays are spiteful. They got that craziness in them to where, oh, you're gonna get me in trouble, so I'm gonna do something to you. I mean, and it's happened. You see it all the time.
But it also keeps your blood pressure down.
now I was about to say, yep.
You don't
In
use
your
the
heart.
cuss words, or you don't
Right.
raise your voice. And actually, you build a good rapport with that person,
Mhm.
and you don't even realize, because that person remember that.
She's saying not really, gave them 2 hours to move him to Duke. So again, each
Yeah.
situation is going to
Different
require
situation, yeah.
another level, a different devil.
That's right.
So it's
That's right.
another, but one thing I read earlier in keeping things in perspective, matching energy is why everybody is miserable. You don't clean dirt with dirt.
That's right.
Right.
So,
That's right.
you got to think about your own health. And I'm telling you, I was one of those people riding down the road, raging and carrying on, at the first little thing. And I'm like, hey, nobody's losing in this situation but me.
Right.
So if I'm going to talk about controlling what I eat, I got to control what I think. It all goes hand in hand.
Right.
Mental
Yeah.
health, gut health. Remember we talked about that before.
Mhm.
What you eat affects your mental. So if I'm all cranked up on sugar all the time, or whatever the case may be, I gotta have a low anytime I'm coming down off of whatever I've taken in. So you gotta be mindful about what's triggering these things. And I get it, we get panicked about our loved ones or ourselves if we feel we're being mistreated or mishandled. But at the same time, like you said, Eric, we got to think about our blood pressure. We got to think about our
Yeah.
heart. We got to think about who's looking and watching, us in the moment, because we could be affecting someone else with our bad temper too.
That's
know.
right.
Absolutely.
So-
Right.
So there's a time like when what she was saying just
Mhm.
now, Benicia. Okay, yeah, it's time to get
Yeah.
a little bit elevated, but you don't have to use the cuss words.
You don't have to do
Right.
profanity.
You don't have to. You don't even have to. Yeah. Hey, look, ma'am, I've been waiting here, so on and so forth. So here's what's about to happen. Either you take me and put me in a room, or I will call my wife back, and I will I will get myself up out of here. I will call her. We will come up out of here. When they said when that hospital heard that, within the next 5 minutes, I was in a room with IV and the doctor coming in there.
Because you
Okay.
just be stern, like I think I cannot say this name either. Is it Fritza?
Fritza.
Fritza? Change starts within. Yes, ownership.
Yes.
Okay,
Ownership,
you gotta own your own health, your own behaviors, your own triggers. All that stuff is yours to own.
And you got
Right.
to own. You got to show people that you know that you have ownership. That's what the doctors and nurses want to see. They want to see that you're interested, so they can give you the best help that they can. Because, like you said, the matching energy. If you don't care, watch your day, because it's gonna be
Right.
pulling
Absolutely.
teeth.
Yep.
It's gonna be pulling teeth.
Right.
Okay, do you want to get help? I don't know. Well, what's wrong with you? I can't tell you.
Everything hurt. I've heard people
Everything.
say that everything hurting. Okay,
So
well, let's start somewhere. Look,
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be like, look, well, when I wake up, my eye twitch to the left. I mean, you have to be detailed about what it is,
help
because
them, because
that
maybe
those certain
that's
details,
a symptom that they seen before. You know
right?
what I'm saying? Oh, you got this? Okay, this. Because like that's why I used to laugh and joke with Mario. I was like, man, I'm not fixing no computers. I'm not doing it. I'm not working on cars for nobody. He's like, well, why? I said, the worst thing you can do is say my computer don't work. What that mean? You know how many that could be?
It could be so many different. It's like you got to know the symptoms. Like, okay, why is your computer? Tell me what you did. When you hit the power button, did it come on? You have to troubleshoot it, but you need all the information
But
and
you
the
need
symptoms.
to tell
what
me,
it is.
when I sat down, I pushed the button, it didn't work, and it's been like that. Okay, so now I know what to do. That's what you had to do with that doctor. Don't say everything hurt.
Well,
No,
I mean, I would take it to no. I'll take it like a perfect example. You got to be honest with yourself. So,
yeah.
like, they gotta be real honest with yourself. So, like, I'm gonna take that same scenario. When I did used to work on computers, okay. Well, how did the virus get on the computer? I don't know. I go on the computer, look at the history. Okay, you was on a porn site.
That's right.
Looking all kinds of stuff.
It's like I'll say, so you automatically know that you were doing the wrong thing, but you wasn't honest about it. So with your health, it's the same thing with your health situation. If you're out here and you smoking and you're not supposed to be smoking, if you're out here drinking sodas and you know you're not supposed to be drinking sodas, if you're out here eating donuts and you know you're not supposed to be eating, I mean, it's like there's certain things that you know you're not supposed to do. Someone's already told you what right looks like, but if you choose to do the wrong thing and lie about it, you're not hurting nobody but yourself.
Because when I first got diagnosed with AFib, all right, my wife even noticed it. We was walking like 7 miles, and I would just stop. And I'm breathing hard, my heart is beating fast, I'm sweating. Well, first thing we say, you know what, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? We get ready to go home, check it out. Okay, boom, boom, boom. We went there, and when we went to talk to that doctor, we were very specific. And we told him everything. He said, sounds like you might have AFib. I was like, what? Well, I'm going to refer you to a cardiologist. So I went to the cardiologist, and he even did one step better. He said, boss, he went in there, that same colonel had done already sent the paperwork from Womack to him, and he said, yes. And he said, I got to shake your hand. I said, why? He said, most people in your condition don't say nothing or do nothing until it's too late. They end up in the casket. I said, what? He's like, yeah. He said, how long did you do in the Army? I said, 26. He said, you could have died in any of those 26 years. You had this the whole time. I said, what? He said, let me guess. I bet you got a history of heart condition. I said, yeah. On my father's side. He's like, yeah.
See, that's Venetia had just asked that. Vanessa had just asked. You have to be very specific. Yes, you do. You do. You got to be able to tell, because they're not, and especially like we went going back to what the point was made earlier. They don't have the time that they used to have to sit there with that chart and flip through it. You gotta, when you're sitting in that waiting room filling out that questionnaire, or if you had to go online and fill out, you need to put as much information down as possible so that they can get to your diagnosis quick and help you as seamlessly and as quick as possible. So again, you are the subject matter expert for your own body.
That's right.
Now,
they're not mind readers.
Okay. And again, everybody's pain threshold is different.
Right.
I have a very high tolerance for pain.
I do too, yeah.
So what pains me, by the time, most of the time, if I'm at the doctor, somebody else would have thought they were dying. So if I physically go to a doctor, I'm almost on death's door. But my pain threshold does not tell me that I'm there, but somebody else would be almost about to die. I'm the person who drove myself to the hospital in full-blown labor, chilling, but you can't go, because I hear these women with these hysterical stories, and I'm like, oh, well, they broke my water at the doctor's office, and I drove myself about 20 minutes to the hospital in full-blown labor. So you cannot, you have to be specific for that reason, because just because it's not hurting doesn't mean that there's not a problem.
Right.
And that's why I've transitioned from different doctors for as my back, because I tell them everything I've done. Now, I may not know the medical name, but
Right.
they love me because
Right.
I describe it enough to, okay, this, that. Oh, you know what, Mr. Buck, we're going to try this now. We're going to try that now. Because now you've done all that. Now we can send you to the chiropractor because we're not going to inject anything else. Then we're not going to do this, that, and the third because you had that. Because, see, here's the problem. If I didn't tell them everything, they might describe a procedure coming from what I said that might end up exacerbating the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And now I want to sue the doctor, but it's not the doctor's fault. On this and this day, you said this, so I went this way. I tell them everything. And see, stop blowing off them questionnaires too. Stop blowing them off because
Yeah.
you don't feel like filling out no
Yeah.
paperwork.
That
They
questionnaires
look at
mean a
those.
lot.
They look at those. Tell them
Right.
everything. If you feel like your nose is itching a little bit too much on a Sunday, say it.
Mhm.
You could have a symptom of something else. And they could be, from their experience, they could say, you know, that sounds like this. Let me do this battery test. And ask them when they pull up, when you go in there after you do your little lab work, don't just make that a simple doctor visit. Have them explain to you what they're looking at and why.
Right.
What is this? What is that? What is that? Oh, okay. They're gonna be like, you want to know? Yeah, okay. Look, this is your A1C. This, and this. And they're gonna remember that. Okay, this guy takes his health serious.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm gonna make sure when I see him, I'm gonna make sure boom, 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 boom. Don't say that the doctor's trash. I would never say that. Don't say that. What you first question you gotta ask yourself is, how was I as a patient?
Patient. Yeah.
Right.
How was I as a patient? Everything hurt. That's it. Why you always giving me ibuprofen? Man, I don't read minds. You
Right.
say everything hurt, I'm gonna give you ibuprofen. We'll go from there.
Right. Vanessa, so you say you started eating vegan in January. I would tell you to reference back to our first call that we had on health and support, because here's the key thing with vegan. Again, certain fatty things are needed. So you need to make sure when you start talking about eating vegan that you understand what your body needs. So a lot of people think that that's the end all be all. I've seen people go vegan and then develop health problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you got to know how to
Has to equal out.
read your numbers. You got to know what you need for your body. I'm all about increasing fruits and vegetables. You know, I've been a distributor for Juice Plus for the last 20 plus years. Most people that are in that business are vegan. I don't support a complete vegan lifestyle because I understand, as much as I work out and teach classes, that fat burns faster. So my body needs a little more. So it depends on what your activity level looks like as far as how vegan you can become. Okay.
Right.
So be careful with that one. That one requires a lot of research,
Yes, just like
constantly
anything
checking
else.
your numbers. It's a process, right? A process of learning your body, but you also got to be careful not to jolt from your body things that your body was used to having, because then your body goes into shock and it starts reacting to those things that it needs to be supported by. So that is one that I tell people, because it's a trend right now, everybody's jumping on. You need to make sure you understand what you're doing to your body and putting in. So you need to almost be talking to someone. When
Mhm.
when my ladies, when we do detoxes and stuff, I go through all their numbers, how many macros they need, how much fat they need, how much carbohydrates they need. So for everything that you take out, you got to know how to put it back in. Okay. So vegan is great. Well, however you want to eat, just make sure it's a balance and you know what you need for your body. So it is a simple formula. You should be able to take your BMI, your body mass index, look at that. That's important. Where are you at there? Skinny is not healthy. Fat is not unhealthy,
Right.
because what someone else views as fat is not fat. So muscle weighs more than fat.
But,
So
yeah.
as you gain muscle weight, you're going to gain more or weigh more on the scale. So that's why I tell people it's about measurements, how your clothes fit. Again, all of this is an individual journey. Okay. But anything where you're learning your body, make sure you understand what your body needs too, because it'll start going into shock. And a lot of times people that do vegan too fast start to have memory loss, can start to have energy loss, can start to mess with your sleep. Remember, your gut health is connected to your mental health. That's all I keep telling people. Remember, the two are connected.
This was another good one, man.
Yep.
This is another good one.
Yep.
Matter of fact, it is so good. You can talk about this for the next 12 to 15 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if you can touch one person,
Mhm.
you've done your job. But the thing that matters most is what we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes to an hour is self-accountability.
Right. Self-accountability, self-care.
Doctors don't read minds. They are not mind readers.
Mhm.
So you get what you get out of it, what you put into it. You go in there saying everything hurt, you're gonna come out with some ibuprofen.
Mhm.
Don't be mad at him. Be
Mhm.
mad at yourself. Do not disregard those forms, those surveys. When they ask you, have you ever had this, ever had that? If you know you have, put it on there.
And your family history.
And your family
Family history.
Your
Because
family history is very important.
I have a
Mhm.
history of heart conditions on my daddy's side and cancer on my mama's side.
Mhm.
They need to know that. So they know exactly. You'd be surprised at how they know exactly what to look for. Okay, you got this. Okay, we need to look for this for you. We need to go this route. And to my knowledge, they haven't been wrong yet. I talk, I engage with them. I talk. I want to learn. I listen, and I sit there, and if he talks for the next 30 minutes, some of them are actually surprised. If you actually go there with the mindset that I'm accountable and I want to do better with my health, they will be surprised. So if you talk to them and they pause, they're just surprised at how you are so willing to take care of yourself and you want to listen to what they're saying.
Right.
And listen. Don't just stand there because, I got to be it. No, man. If you want to go to the doctor, make it worth your while. If you want to go to the dentist, make it worth your while. And if it don't make sense, say something. They was thinking about for Savion when he was getting his braces. Sending him to Duke, break his jaw, do that. I said, that don't even sound nah, but
That's
we ain't
inhumane. You're not gonna have me over
we
here
ain't doing that.
snaggle tooth and a broke jaw.
Crooked mouth.
As soon as you say you gotta break something to fix it, nah, we good. We're good.
You say what? No,
We're good.
And sure enough,
That don't even sound right. It just don't even sound
Well,
right.
that's the first thing that you're told. If you have a small facial structure or that's the first thing they want to do. And I went to someone and switched gears who said, I believe that the teeth that you have in your mouth are meant to be in your mouth to support your facial structure as you get older, because everything starts to change.
Right.
And you need those things, you know.
And then we went with somebody else, and that's who we been going to this long time. He said, no, what I'm thinking they meant was last resort. We're gonna put braces on them. That would be a last. I don't even know why they said that, but something along the line of what you said, like, no, he's got teeth, we can fix them. We can pull what we need, if anything.
Listen,
and then everything else gonna be with the braces.
We came in this world toothless. We probably gonna die toothless. So I'm not worried.
Right.
I want them to look
Hey.
straight,
Hey.
down. But we all gonna have the Benjamin Button,
Right, there you go,
I
yeah.
had a
Applesauce and Jello don't taste that bad.
No, it don't. And Gummin ain't bad. I can stand to lose a few pounds. It's all good. But it's been a great session, you guys.
Yep.
So, again, personal accountability. I think that's
right.
the conclusion that we can come to. It's about you being
Mhm.
accountable for yourself, like we are for everything else. I don't know why we give our health to other people. Like,
That's right.
like we go
That's
to the
right.
doctor and just get totally dumb.
And get mad at him. He don't look into your eyes and tell you what's wrong with you.
Well, you know what? And I think
No.
this is one of the things I would say this. The way I learned to start taking care of myself is when first time I went to sick call in the military, and I went in, I told them I was sick. the person that I was seeing, the doctor, pulled out a book, looked at the symptoms I had, and says, "Oh, you got this." No, I don't have that. I like, what are you talking about? I don't have that. So when they said, so right then and there, when I'm seeing them reading a book to diagnose what's wrong with me, I knew right then and there I could read a book. I mean, so
I can read it right.
Yep.
so now, and then like today and today's now, that was back before computers. So now anyone can on a smartphone, you can pull up a heartbeat to see what's going on. So that's what I'm saying. It's like self-care should be easy.
Yep. And the final reason is you also have people that's fresh out of medical school. So you taking your accountability can only help you. Because just thought about it, what Mario said. They're gonna pull out a book.
Yeah.
Hey, that don't mean he's incompetent. He just knew. You want to make sure you get it right. So in order to help him get it right, you have to be right before you go in there.
Right.
Like you said, Tisha, make question prior to, so you can go up in there and find out.
Yeah.
That's what we
But you
did.
know
when
good
we-
as well nowadays, as soon as we get an ache of pain, we Googling it. Stop
That's right.
playing. So you can already have that together before
right.
you go
Go
in
ahead
there.
and ask your
And they
question.
already know. All of us think we're subject matter experts
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah, we're already doing it.
you know,
Like, look. Why is my big toe wiggling to the left? Like, what's really
Right.
going on?
why after I had, because after I had COVID, I kept losing a toenail, and I was like, well, what's going on with this? After I
Right.
lost my toenail.
You gotta look into that stuff. I'm telling you. I'm like, man, I mean, you up here like you be like freaking out, like, whoa, let me
Hello
Google this,
now.
and then Google start laughing at you. You know something wrong.
You know what I'm saying? That wasn't no normal burp. Let me Google that. That wasn't no
No,
normal
Siri
burp.
hit you with that. I did not understand the question.
Wait a
Like,
minute.
look,
That's
be
not
like,
no
Alexa,
real
what's
burp right
this?
there. Something ain't right with that burp. We need to check that out. Lung collapse lung, bro. That ain't no collapse lung.
Absolutely.
You just burp loud.
Well, y'all have a good night.
Yep.
Yes, we're gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, look, this was part 2, so part 3 will be next week. Because, like I said, we still didn't get a chance to talk about the health. We talk about health insurance, but we got to talk about life insurance.
Yeah.
So we can't take care of your left, then you got to take care of your family. So it's like we're gonna talk a little bit about that next. We'll probably start off with that next week, just so that's gonna be part 3 of the healthcare versus life insurance.
Insurance, period, is important because a lot of us don't understand it. So that's a good one. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right.
All right, then look, y'all take it easy.
Have a good
We'll see y'all
evening.
next week.
Deuces. That's the new way the young people do peace. No, they do it this way, Mario.
Yeah, hold up this way. See,
Yes.
old school, we do it like this. So
We
now,
do it like this. They do it like this.
Oh man.
Good night.
Everybody be safe.
all right.
Yeah, stay safe.
Man, we mess around.